Today we are going to discuss Buddhism. It is most important topic for all the examinations. There is no question paper without Buddhism and Jainism. Whatever the exam will be, either TSPSC or APPSC or SI, whatever the examination would be, there is a must and should question on the Buddhism and also Jainism. In the last video, we discussed the life of the Buddha and also Buddhist councils. Now, we are going to start principles of Buddhism. Principles of Buddhism means teachings of Buddha. Whatever Buddha taught to the people, whatever Buddha preached to the people, that called as principles of Buddhism or teachings of Buddha. And Buddha advised to avoid the ritualistic worship. He advised to avoid the ritualistic worship. He was against of the ritualistic worship, but he advised spiritual development. Spiritual development. And he rejected infallibility of the Brahmins, infallibility of the Vedas, infallibility of the Brahmins, and also he rejected useless ritualistic sacrifices. Because of the useless ritualistic sacrifices, non-violence is going to increase every time. We know that in India, Vedic religion is made by the Brahmin class. This also called as Brahmanical religion, Vedic religion or Brahmanical religion. This is completely based on the rituals and sacrifices. Rituals and sacrifices. According to the Vedic religion or Brahmanical religion, one should attain moksha. For the attainment of the moksha, rituals and sacrifices are must. This is highly involved, highly costly. Huge cost was putting in the rituals and sacrifices. But this is Vedic philosophy, against of the Vedic philosophy. Buddhism, it started Sankhya philosophy. Buddhism, it is originated based on the Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy, it denied the existence of God. That is atheist. But whereas coming to the point of the Buddha, he was silent in the question of God, existence of the, in the question of existence of the God, Buddha was silent. He did not recognize the existence of God, or he did not deny the existence of God. That's why Buddha is called as agnoist. Agnoist. Buddha is agnoist. Not atheist or not theist, he was agnoist. This is about the Buddha's philosophy. And he maintained the agnoist attitude towards the existence of the God. Good deeds and conduct is basis of his teachings. The main basis of the teachings of Buddha was good deeds and also basis of conduct. Buddhism was the socio-religious revolution. Buddhism is more social revolution than the religious revolution. Buddhist literature or Buddhist preachings, they concentrated more on the social reform than the religious reform. It taught the code of practical ethics. Code of practical ethics. Buddhism taught the code of practical ethics and democratic principles of social equality. Social equality. They concentrated main on the social equality. Coming to the point of the Vedic religion or Brahmanical religion, in the Vedic Brahmanical religion, women and Sudras were put aside. Women and Sudras were put aside in the society. the position of the woman and the position of the Sudras was deteriorated in the society. That's why Buddha concentrated more on the people, those who are deteriorated in the society, for the development of this woman and for the empowerment of the woman and Sudras. He taught all the principles. In his teachings, Buddha mainly concentrated on the moral upliftment of the man. He concentrated more on the moral upliftment of the man. Moral upliftment. He gave more importance to the morals. And also he insisted on leading life of pity and mobility. Pity and mobility. These are the concentrations of Lord Buddha. Coming to the point of Buddhist principles, mainly the Buddhist principles starts with 4 noble truths. He advised 4 noble truths. The first one is dukkha. In the 4 noble truths, the first one is dukkha. World is in the sorrow. World is in misery. World is in full of misery and sorrowness. That is first point, dukkha. He recognized that. When he recognized that, whenever he went out from the palace, he watched 4 great scenes: old man, sick man, religious beggar, and also a corpse, that is dead body. After watching all these things, Buddha, he realized that world is in full of misery. World is in full of misery. That means everybody is suffering in the world. He wanted to know the cause of the world, that is samudaya. Samudaya. Cause of the world. What is the cause of the world? Desire. Desire is cause of the world. Desire is cause of the misery. If you have any desire, you will get miseries. More desires, more miseries. Every suffering has cause. Every suffering has cause, that is desire or trishna. Trishna. Next one is nirodha. You have to avoid this misery. A person can free himself from the sufferings. He can free from himself from the sufferings by overcoming the desires through the renunciation. Here nirodha is, he advised for the renunciation. Renunciation means renouncing worldly life, renouncing family life. That is what called as nirodha. If one have, this is also, we can tell that detachment. One should avoid all the attachments, that is nirodha. If you have an attachment, definitely you will get some desires. These desires led to the miseries. What is the solution to avoid the attachment? What is that solution? Solution is called as marga. Marga is a solution. The only way of this can done is by following Ashtanga Marga. Ashtanga Marga is the only way to come out, to overcome from this desire or from this misery. Ashtanga Marga. That is what called as Eightfold Path. He advised Eightfold Path. Ashtanga Marga. One should follow the 8 things in his life. That is what called as Ashtanga Marga. Coming to the point of the Ashtanga Marga, Eightfold Path. These are most important for the human life, because once in the UPSC, they asked a question how this Ashtanga Marga is going to apply to the present society. The first one is right view. Right view, or this is also called as right vision. Your vision should be in the right way. Samyak drushti. Right aspiration. Right aspiration. Right aspiration. That is what aim. Right aim. And also right speech. Right speech. Your speech should be right in the right way. Right action. Your action should be in the right way. Right action. Another one. After this, right livelihood. Right livelihood. Right effort. You should put right effort. Right meditation. Right mindedness. Right mindedness. That is right awareness. Your awareness should be in the right way. Right mindedness. Right mindedness. So all these are called as eightfold path. If one follow this eightfold path, definitely he will attain salvation, that is moksha. Buddha held the path. Buddha, he held faith in the theory of karma. All this explains the theory of karma. He trusted theory of karma, which was explained in the Hindu religion. What is karma? Karma is an action originally. Karma, it is an action. Whatever doing today, your future will depends upon the today's action. So karma always gives you the future. For example, today you are preparing for the SI or preparing for civil services. If you prepare civils examination, you will get civils job. Other than the civils job, from the civils examination you cannot get it. That means whatever the action you are doing today, your future will depends upon the today's action. He also permitted meat to eat. One can eat the meat, eat meeting. That's why Buddha in the last days, he took meat, that is pig meat, pork. He ate the pork in the last days of the Buddha, which was given by the Chanda. Buddha also laid a code for his followers. The main item in this social conductive, there are 5 things to follow. One is 5 things to follow. Do not covet. Do not covet the property. Do not covet the property. One should not get the property. One should not attain the property. And do not commit violence. Do not commit violence. You should avoid the violence. Do not use intoxicants. Do not use intoxicants. Intoxicants means drinking, drugs, all these things. And do not speak lie. Do not speak lie. And do not indulge in the corruption or corrupted activities. You should not indulge in the corruptive activities. One should avoid the corruption, the practice of corruption. So these 5 things you must follow. These are the teachings of Buddha. One should not get the property. If you do not have the property, your desires will not continue. If you start the earning of property, the desires will increase. And do not commit violence. If you start the violence, definitely it goes to the more and more activities. Intoxicants are more danger. Intoxicants sometimes it goes to the commit of the violence, and intoxicants are always goes to the speaking of lie. Intoxicants always go to the corrupted activities. Like that, there is link between one to the another. Yeah, this is about the principles of Buddhism. After the coming of the principles of Buddhism, next come to the point of decline of Buddhism in India. Decline of Buddhism. What are the causes for the decline of Buddhism? Buddhism gained more support, more popularity than the Jainism. It got more popularity in the mass people. It got more popularity in the mass people. Buddhism was never able to destroy the Hinduism. What is the main purpose of Buddhism introduced by Lord Buddha? So Buddha's main intention to bring social reform. The main intention to bring social reform, not to eradicate or not to eliminate Hinduism or Brahmanism from the Hindu society. He don't want to eliminate Hinduism or Brahmanism from Indian society. He wanted to restore social reforms, and he wanted to reform the Indian Hindu Dharma, but not completely avoiding the Hindu Dharma. That was the thing. According to our knowledge, Lord Buddha, that is originally called as Siddhartha. Siddhartha born in Nepal, that is Rummindai. The place of the Siddhartha, he born at Rummindai. Siddhartha born in Rummindai. He became Buddha. Coming to the point of the Buddhism, Buddhism born in India, that is in Sarnath. Buddhism born at Sarnath. Sarnath is considered as a birthplace of Buddhism. Rummindai is birthplace of Buddha. Sarnath is birthplace of Buddhism. India is birthplace of Buddhism, but almost Buddhism disappeared in the native India. What are the causes for the decline of Buddhism? There are two types of the causes: internal causes and external causes. Coming to the point of the internal causes. Internal causes mainly schism or split. Immediately after the death of Buddha, after 100 years, that is in the Second Buddhist Council, which was held at Vaisali around 383 BC. 483 BC, Buddha died. 483 BC, First Buddhist Council held at Pataliputra. Second Buddhist Council held at Vaisali in 383 BC after the 100 years of the death of Buddha. In this second council, there occurred schism in the Buddhism because of the ideological differences among the Buddhist groups. That is, there are two groups, formed two groups. Mahasanghikas and Theravadinis. Mahasanghikas and Theravadins. Mahasanghikas later became Mahayanism, Theravadinis Hinayanism. Like that, Mahayana, Hinayana, two groups were formed. Along with this, during the time of the Gupta's period, or 5th century, 6th century AD, Gupta's period, there occurred a separate group, a special group formed in the Buddhism, that was Vajrayana Buddhism. Vajrayana Buddhism. This Vajrayana Buddhism, it went for the different activities, like Vajrayana Buddhism started mantras and tantrics. mantras and tantrics. Tantrical works of the Vajrayana Buddhism. And also what Vajrayana Buddhism used to say. Vajrayana Buddhism, the main concept of the Vajrayana Buddhism is sexual intercourse. Satisfaction in the sexual intercourse is the way for the attainment of moksha. It is the way for the attainment of moksha. Now then, sanghas. These sanghas became prostitute centers in India. This was not accepted by the society. Sanghas became prostitute centers. It was a big blow to the decline of Buddhism in India. Vajrayana, thunderbolt. Vajrayana Buddhism was a big blow to the decline of Buddhism in India. It was the main cause for the decline of Buddhism. That was internal classes, ideological differences. So along with this, coming to the point of the external causes, mainly Buddhism lost kings patrons or patronism of the kings. It lost the pattern of Buddhism. Kings did not patron the Buddhism. Ashoka, he patronized Buddhism. And Ashoka sent Buddhist missionaries to the outside world. Ashoka was cast for the sending Buddhist missionaries outside the world. Ashoka is cast for the spreading Buddhism other than India. But during the time of the Ashoka period, Ashoka's wife Tisaraka, she gave poison to the Bodhi tree. Absence of Bodhi tree. Bodhi tree died in India. During the time of the Ashoka period, started against policies, what is that rivalry towards the Buddhism. Because of mainly Ashoka's Dhamma policy, Ashoka's attitude towards the Buddhism, that was not accepted by the so many people. Especially Brahmanical revivalism started after the death of the Ashoka. During the time of the Sunga's period, Sunga ruler Pushyamitra Sunga, he was the first opponent king of Buddhism in India. Pushyamitra Sunga was a Brahmin. According to some evidences, Pushyamitra Sunga, he declared 1,000 dinars on head of the Buddhist monk. If anybody brought the head of the Buddhist monks, he will be awarded 1,000 dinars, 1,000 gold coins. Pushyamitra Sunga. During this period, Nagasena, he went to the Milinda and Nagasena asked the help of the Milinda. There occurred war between Pushyamitra Sunga and Milinda. That happened. Pushyamitra Sunga, he did not continue the Buddhism. He don't want to continue the Buddhism. He started, Pushyamitra Sunga, he was cast for the rise of Hindu revivalism, that is Brahmanical revivalism. He started the Brahmanical revivalism. This led for the Bhagavatism. Bhagavatism reached its zenith during the time of the Gupta's period. What is Bhagavatism? The main concept, the main thing of the Bhagavatism is incarnations of Lord Vishnu. They said that one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu during the time of the Gupta's period, Buddha became one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu. By this stroke, Buddhism joined into the Bhagavatism. Buddhism became Bhagavatism. Buddha became one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu. This was a big blow, big strike on the Buddhism during the time of the Gupta's period. That is concept of the Dasavatara theory. By this lost the importance of the Buddhism in India, and Buddhism lost its patronage, royal patronage. Kings did not patronize the Buddhism. Last royal patronage received Buddhism by the Pala kings in India. Palas. Palas, they established different universities like Uddandapura University, Vallabhi University, Vikramasila University in Indian lands, that is in Bihar. All these were the centers of, all these became centers of the Buddhism like Nalanda, Vikramasila universities. Finally, these Nalanda, Vikramasila universities were Buddhist centers. These Buddhist centers were also destroyed by the Muslim invasions. During the time of the 1197, in the year 1197, Bakhtiyar Khilji, he was the army commander, army general of the Muhammad Ghori. He invaded on the Sena kingdom. Bihar was under the Senas of Bengal. He occupied Senas of Bengal. After the annexation of the Bengal kingdom, he raided on the Nalanda Vikramasila universities. He destroyed Nalanda Vikramasila universities. That was last blow to the Buddhism. Finally, with the Muslim invasions, Buddhism lost its importance in India. So like this, Buddhism declined in India. And coming to the point of the what contribution of the Buddhism in India, the contribution of Buddhism, how Buddhism contributed in the Indian society. Contribution of Buddhism. Coming to this point, Buddhism contributed socially, literally, and several things. Contributed various aspects like cultural, political, social, and religious activities. Buddhism, it promoted national spirit first. National spirit. It promoted the national spirit. Serious blow to the Indian casteism. They did not accept the Indian casteism. They denied Indian caste system. They played vital role for the development of the Sudras, and they played vital role for the mingling of Sudras into other clans or other caste. So discovered unnecessary rites and they discarded unnecessary rites and rituals, encouraged to treat each and other people with respect. Even they encouraged to respect the Sudras. They encouraged to respect the women. Sense of social equality. They started the sense of social equality. This sense of social equality it proved the Mauryan Empire, Mauryan rulers evolving the powerful kingdom. Only because of this, Mauryans became powerful kingdom. According to the Buddhism or according to the Puranas, Mauryans were Sudras. Puranas says that Mauryans were Sudras. They gave, like Nandas were Sudras. They paved the way for the establishment of the Sudra kingdoms in India. Lower origin also entered into the political system. Undermine the caste system. They undermined the caste system. Caste system became undermined with the revolt against the social and religious malpractices, condemned caste system, and also started idol worship. Idol worship first time started by the Buddhism. Buddha was the first humankind worshipped by the people. Buddha's idol was the first human idol started to worship by the people. By this first Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism, it started idol worship. Buddha has worshipped idol, Buddha's idol, that is Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas were earlier births of Buddha, incarnations of Buddha. Mahayana Buddhism started the worship of Buddha, that is Bodhisattvas images. These Bodhisattvas images considered as made from the Gandhara school of art. Gandhara school of art. It considered as a Gandhara school of art. So like this, only during the time of the Kanishka period, Gandhara school of art became very popular. After this simplification of the religion, Indian Hindu religion was very complicated. Indian Brahmanical religion was very complicated, that made into simplification. No place for the rites and rituals, yajnas and yagas. Simply they sit for the meditation. No knowledge, attain knowledge. Knowledge is pathway for the attainment of the moksha. Anybody can eligible for the moksha. Truthfulness, they advised truthfulness. They advise the truthfulness, and also they advise the purity of mind, truthfulness, purity of mind, non-violence. Because of all these things, social system, Indian social system became simple. Complicated social system became very simple of that period. And another one, impact on the Brahmanism, Ahimsa and Bhakti. Brahmanism started Ahimsa and Bhakti also. New phase like Bhagavatism, Saivism, all these were started in the Hindu religion because of the Buddhism. And development of education. Education also developed because of the Buddhism. How education developed? Buddhist viharas. Viharas are the guest houses or rest houses of the Buddhist monks. These viharas became educational centers. Educational centers. For example, Acharya Nagarjuna University. Yagnasri Satakarni, Satavahana King Yagnasri Satakarni constructed a Maha Buddhist Vihara for the Acharya Nagarjuna. It became Nagarjuna University. So like that, Buddhist centers became, Viharas became educational centers. And intimate connection with the outside of the world, Buddhism outside the world. Asoka and Kanishka, he sent missionaries to the outside of the world. Next, along with this improvement of the women and Sudras from the society, they fought for the improvement of the women and this. Coming to the point of the Buddhism, how it paved the way for the development of literature. The contribution in the art and architecture and literature. The contribution of Buddhism in the field of the literature were no less significance. Produced numerous literature in the language of the people. They used common people language, Pali. By that time, Pali and Sanskrit, they used both Pali and Sanskrit. Initially, Buddhist literature followed the Pali. Mahayana Buddhism, they followed the Sanskrit. Hinayana they followed Pali literature. Mahayana, they followed Sanskrit literature. Tripitakas, Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, Abhidhamma Pitaka. Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, Abhidhamma Pitaka, these three Pitakas were composed in the Pali literature. They composed in Pali literature, in the Prakrit language. These were the sacred books of Buddhism. These were composed in the first Buddhist council. They composed Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka. Sutta Pitaka was composed by the Anand. Vinaya Pitaka was composed by the Upali in the first Buddhist council. In third Buddhist council, this Abhidhamma Pitaka was composed by Mogali Putta Tissa. Mogaliputta Tissa. He composed the Abhidhamma Pitaka. 3 Pitakas. Ashwagosha wrote Buddha Charita. Later period, Ashwagosha, he wrote Buddha Charita, the history of Buddha. He also wrote another books like Soundarananda. Soundarananda was also written by Ashwagosha. Sariputta Prakashanaka, Sariputta Prakasana. This was also written by Ashwagosha. Ashwagosha, he was a vice president of 4th Buddhist Council, court poet of the Kanishka. Lalita Vistara, it was a Bible of Lalita Vistara. It was considered as a Bible of Buddhism. It was translated into English by the Edward Arnold. Edward Arnold, he translated Lalita Vistara into English on the name of the Light of Asia. The Light of Asia. He said Buddha as Light of Asia, Edward Arnold. And Harsha wrote 3 books. Harshavardhana. All the 3 books were written in the Sanskrit. Harsha, he was a Vardhana dynasty ruler. Naganandam, Ratnavali, Priyadarsika. Naganandam, Ratnavali, Priyadarsika, all these books, they speaks about Buddhism. They concentrated more on the Buddhism because Harshavardhana, he followed Mahayana Buddhism because of his sister. Sister was rescued. The life of the sister Rajasri was rescued by a Buddhist monk called Divakara Mitra. Because of that, Harshavardhana, he followed Mahayana Buddhism. Vasubandhu, another poet. Vasubandhu wrote Abhidhamma Kosam. It was also Buddhist book. And he also wrote Vidya Sutra Siddhi Shastra. Vidya Sutra Siddhi Shastra. This was another book was written by Vasubandhu. He also wrote Dasa Bhumika Shastra. Another book. Like this, 3 books were written by Vasubandhu. And Buddha Ghosha, another person. Buddha Ghosha, another Buddhist poet. Buddha Ghosha, he wrote Visuddha Magga. Visuddha Magga, it was a commentary on the Tripitakas. And also he wrote Data Katha Prakarana, another book was written by Buddha Ghosha. Buddha Ghosha, he also wrote Katavattu Prakarana. Another book, Samanta Pasarika. Like this, all these books, they speaks about Buddhism, Buddhist works. Along with this, we will also know some other books of Buddhism, because Buddhism made more contribution on the development of the literature. Aryadeva wrote Shatasastra. Aryadeva, he wrote Shatasastra. It speaks about Buddhism. Nagasena wrote Milinda Panho. Nagasena Buddhist monk, he wrote Milinda Panho. This we know that Milinda Panho means the questions of Milinda. Milinda asked questions to the Nagasena. Nagasena gave answers. Bhava Viveka, he was a Buddhist monk. Bhava Viveka wrote Tarkajwala book. And Prajna Pradipa. Dharmakruti wrote Nyaya Bindu. Nyaya Bindu, he wrote Dharmakruti. This was also Buddhist book. Next, Siddhanagarjuna wrote Siddhanagarjuna. Siddhanagarjuna, he wrote Kakasaputa Tantra. Siddhanagarjuna wrote that book. And Maitreya wrote Lankavatara. Maitreya, he wrote Lankavatara. Next to Santideva, another person. Santideva wrote Bodhikaryavatara. Jinadeva, another person. Jinadeva wrote Alambana Pratyadhyana Shastra. So like this, all these are the Buddhist literatures. Like this, there are several books developed by the Buddhism. Buddhism developed common people language. Because of the Buddhism and Jainism, vernacular languages were developed. Vernacular literature also developed because of the Buddhism and Jainism. Next, coming to the point of the Buddhist art and architecture. Buddhist art, mainly Buddhist art, there are two types. One is Gandhara school of art. Another one is Madhura school of art. Gandhara school of art is mixing of Indo-Greek Roman culture, Indo-Greek Roman architecture, Roman sculpture. Madhura is completely indigenous. Here in the Gandhara school of art, mainly they concentrated more on the physical structure of the Buddha. Buddha considered as Apollo god of Greek. Muscles, Buddha's muscles were shown here, wrinkled muscles. They gave more importance to the Buddha's physical appearance. And whereas coming to the point of the Mathura school of art, in the Mathura school of art, they gave more importance for the spiritual than the physical appearance. Shining chakra. Whenever we watched what is that god or goddess in the movies, you will find a shining chakra behind the head, revolving some shining chakra. That concept has been taken from the Madhura school of art. Madhura school of art, both they gave Buddhism as well as Indian Hindu religion. And another one is architecture of the Buddhist architecture. In the Buddhist architecture, they followed three types of the architectural styles. One is vihara. They constructed three types of the buildings: viharas, chaityas, and stupas. Viharas are the guest houses or rest houses of the Buddhist monks. Because 6 months Buddhist monks, they used to be in the viharas. 6 months they used to be outside the viharas. During the season of the rainy season, Buddhist monks, they should stay at viharas. During the rainy season, they should not go out. That was the order of Buddha. Because people, they will be very busy with their works. These Buddhist monks, they won't preach them. So that's why, because of the winter season and rainy season, they should be in the viharas. And viharas were the education centers that already we discussed. Coming to the point of the chaityas. Chaityas also called as aramas. These are also called as aramas. These are the just like temples, worshipping places of Buddha. Temples. Indian temples are taken from the chaityas, aramas. Stupas. Stupas are constructed on the relics of Buddha. Whatever Buddha left. Relics means Buddha's remains. Buddha left some stick. Buddha left some dresses. Taking that stick, burying in the, what is that, earth, construction of the stupa. Stupas are looks like this. A semi circular dome stood on the platform. This is a arbitrary circular path stood on the platform. This was stood on the platform. This is what called as anda, circulatory path for the production. Circulatory path for the production. This is a what is that, stage, platform. This is chatra and chatradand. Chat and chatradand. It has 4 gateways in 4 sides. This is stupa. Ashoka constructed 84,000 stupas in different places for the Buddhism. So this is about the Buddhist architecture. Buddhist architecture influenced the Indian Brahminical or Hindu architectural styles. Hindu architectural styles has been taken from the Buddhist architectural styles. This is about the contribution of Buddhism. Next, the last thing we have to discuss some sects of the Buddhism. Buddhist sects. Buddhist sects. First we will take Hinayana. Hinayana, it is a orthodox Buddhist sect. It was completely orthodox. Hinayana means lesser vehicle. Completely orthodox. They did not invite the change. They followed Pali literature. Vishuddha Magga, which was written by Buddha Ghosha. Already we discussed that Buddha Ghosha wrote Vishuddha Magga. Vishuddha Magga was main book for the Hinayana. Vishuddha Magga, which was written by Buddha Ghosha. It was main book of Hinayana Buddhism. Hinayana Buddhism, it denied the idol worship. No idol worship. They did not follow the idol worship. What they worshipped? They worshipped Buddha's foot and Buddha's symbols. Panchakalyanas of Buddha. What are those Panchakalyanas of Buddha? I already discussed with you. These Panchakalyanas, Buddha's birth represented as a lotus. Buddha left from the home, that is great renunciation with horse. Enlightenment of the Buddha with peepal tree. After that, Buddha's first speech, Dharma Chakra Parivartana, Buddha's death, Mahaparinirvana, stupa. All they used to worship all the symbols of the Pancha Kalyanas. Buddha, they treated Buddha as Guru. And this Hinayana Buddhism, it propagated outside India, Burma, Ceylon. It propagated Burma, Ceylon, Southeast Asian countries. Southeast Asian countries. Next, Mahayana Buddhism. Hinayana, Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism means greater vehicle. Greater vehicle. They accepted the change. That's why this is called as heterodox. Heterodox. Orthodox and heterodox. Mahayana Buddhism. So Mahayana Buddhism, they followed Sanskrit literature. For the Mahayana Buddhism, mainly the Mahayana Buddhism, Prajna Paramita was main book. Prajna Paramita, which was written by Acharya Nagarjuna. He was the most important Buddhist monk called as second Buddha. Acharya Nagarjuna is called as a second Buddha. And also he was called as Lutheran of Buddhism. Lutheran Buddhism. Acharya Nagarjuna. Acharya Nagarjuna, he wrote Madhyamika Karika. Madhyamika Karika is also main book for the Mahayana Buddhism. The concepts of Mahayana Buddhism was written in that. Here, in this, they completely followed the Buddha's teachings and they followed idol worship. What idol worship? They worshipped Bodhisattvas. Who were the Bodhisattvas? Earlier births of Buddha, Bodhisattvas. And also they worshipped wives of the Bodhisattvas, Taras. Idol worship developed in India by the Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism. They followed the Gandhara school of art. They developed the Gandhara school of art. And also they followed Sunyavada, which was proposed by the Acharya Nagarjuna. It became very popular in China, Japan area, Korea, Nepal, etc. Korea, Nepal area, etc. This is about Mahayana Buddhism. Next, another sect of the Buddhism, that was Vajrayana Buddhism. Vajrayana Buddhism is thunderbolt. Vajrayana, it developed in India during the time of the Gupta's period, around 5th century AD. It developed in India. And Vajrayana Buddhism is a Tantric Buddhism. It is a Tantric Buddhism that already we discussed. God of this Vajrapani, they worshipped the Vajrapani. Another incarnation of Lord Buddha. Vikramasila University was main center for the Vikramasila University. This was main center of the Vajrayana Buddhism. Vajrayana Buddhism born in Andhra Pradesh. Mahayana Buddhism also born in Andhra Pradesh. Siddhanagarjuna was a famous person and famous saint of the Vajrayana Buddhism. Siddhanagarjuna. They followed mantras and tantrics. According to them, sexual intercourse is the ultimate. If you satisfy in the sexual intercourse, that is the pathway of attainment of moksha. This is about the Buddhism. In the next video, we will discuss similarities and differences between the Jainism and Buddhism. Okay, good luck to you all. We'll discuss in the next class.